Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Crime Circus. My name's Drip Drop. Tonight I present to you Anthony Todt's interrogation in super high quality, just like you demanded. Not a lot of big YouTubers like me will read the comments and listen to the comments and fulfill your dreams. You wanted this interrogation in better quality, so I obtained it. We're going to get to hear what Anthony Todt has to say for himself. And if you haven't heard his first interrogation, make sure you check out my channel because I posted that before this video. That one's audio only, this one's video and audio. Make sure you check out my super thanks button below this video. Consider joining my Patreon, YouTube membership, or donating inside the Cash App. I appreciate it. It helps me obtain these videos and present them to you. Anyways, let's jump right into this and see what Anthony has to say for himself at this time.
Alright, sorry for the delay. Okay. Anthony, what was your middle name?
John.
John?
John.
John? And spell the last name again?
T-O-D-T.
Okay. And our case number is 20I004299. Oh, hold on. Let me turn this stupid thing off real quick. Maybe. I can figure this damn thing out, right? There we go. Okay. Just to let you know I'm recording this, just like the conversations we had the other day at the hospital. What I want to do is, this is what I read you the other day. I want to have you I'm going to read it to you again before I speak to you, obviously. Miranda rights. I'm required to inform you that you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand? Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you're not entitled to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning, you are entitled to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one will be provided before and during questioning without charge. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. I know verbally you said yes. If I could be so kind, or if you could be so kind, could I get you can read these? Okay. And then I'll throw your signature right there if you can. Sorry. You can read them verbatim whenever you want. I know you said yes. Each one will. You got it?
I can't even get down.
Oh, you can't get down there? Here. There we go. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
And I will notarize this here once, but I swear to the phone statements are valid, true, and correct. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I know we're speaking about our investigation, case number 20I004299. What I'll have you do, obviously, you're in a set of handcuffs right now in the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. If I could ask you, could you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear that everything that we're speaking about today is going to be the truth and nothing but the truth and best of your knowledge to help you God?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's a very tragic event, very unfortunate event. Earlier this week we were called to your home. Obviously, I'm just doing this. All three of us have already spoken multiple times before this at the hospital. You're now outside of the hospital. I don't know what they treated you for. I don't know if it was something to do with some liver, kidneys, or something like that, enzymes or something.
Benadryl overdose.
Benadryl? Okay. How do you feel right now?
Regarding health-wise?
Yeah, I mean.
I feel very sad and very upset that I'm still here and
Yeah. Is there somewhere else you'd rather be?
with my family on the other side.
On the other side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you do know your wife and And children are deceased.
Yes, and that's where I want to be with them.
That's where you want to be. Okay. All right. Well, some progress has been made since we last spoke. Okay. I had the unfortunate event of attending their autopsies yesterday. Okay. And we'll get to the kind of the details on that. There are some questions that I have based upon what I've witnessed yesterday and then what we've last spoken about. So just to clear my mind and go through everything, I'd like you to just start from the beginning, if we can. How we led up to where we're at right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. For a while, my wife had started. She began watching these videos, talking about the afterlife, talking about somebody had shipped out, talking about how families go to so.
Slow down a little bit right now. I'm just having a hard time keeping up with you too.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And speak up.
And in watching these videos and watching everything going on, she presented them to me, and I started watching them with kind of a uneasy, like, yeah, whatever. And the more and more we watched, the more and more I gained an understanding that there is more than this life here,
Mm-hmm.
a higher level of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started researching, and then we started finding more about the world is coming to the end, the apocalyptic end, and that a family is going to be separated and enslaved, and to avoid this, to all go together. Okay?
You mean die together?
Die together, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay? So, because my wife's been chronically ill for a while, this really appealed to her, and because it appealed to me also, because she wouldn't be in any pain, family wouldn't be separated,
Mm-hmm.
there would be no more sorrow, no more heartbreaking, no more anything, it would be a salvation and everlasting life. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we kept doing our research, reading up things, meditating, and decided that, yeah, this should be a thing. This should be what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We had sat down and talked with the boys and Zoe just on different things about, death and the way what would happen if mommy died, how would you feel, what happened when daddy died, what would you feel? And the consistent responses was like, we don't want you to die, we want to die with you. Okay?
So when did you guys start talking to the children about this?
What month are we in?
We're in January now.
No, it was before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And your wife first showed you these videos when?
She started watching them, or she first started showing them to me in April.
April. Okay. And what was she using to watch these?
Her Microsoft Surface laptop.
And that's the one in the blue case?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a flip, yes.
All right. Okay, go on. So you talked to the children.
We talked to the children just to get a general understanding what they wanted to do and whatnot, and they didn't want to live without us. Okay? We didn't point blank say we're going to die and leave you behind, but what would you do if mommy and daddy died and we don't want to live without you? We don't want to live without you.
Okay.
And in conversation with my wife, we didn't want to live without them either. We wanted to bring a whole family together and to make it transverse together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So we were coming up with different things of how we could do this. We didn't know how we could do this because we're not violent people. Okay, not violent people at all. First, we said, what if we started reading different things. Or something came on TV about cough medicine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so could they have some cough medicine that'll put them to sleep, like overdose of cough medicine, just put them to sleep, and advice peaceful death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my wife made a pudding pie, jello pie,
Mm-hmm.
froze it, nothing happened.
What was in the pie?
What was in the pie? Sleep, ease, different things with drama, the stuff to put you to sleep.
You said you have a medical background, is that correct?
I have a medical but not a chemical background.
Not a chemical, okay.
Yeah, I'm a physical therapist.
Okay, so you don't have all the terminology and all?
No, I apologize.
Does your wife?
She's a physical therapist, no.
Okay.
We look it up and.
Where did you guys look this, I was just fixing to ask, where did you guys do the research at?
We went up and down up and down the aisles of the Publix and asked the drug guy, I can't think of
Pharmacist?
Pharmacist, thank you. You know, what's something good that'll put you to sleep, having trouble falling asleep?
When did you guys start doing this research?
That started research before Halloween. But I just intermittently trying to figure out when was going on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When we found out that the best drug to use was that it's the stuff in Benadryl. It's the safest way to put away. The safest way to put in. So it didn't work. So we kept thinking, talking, and just researching different things. And finally, you know, we started researching. We said, we're just going to have to do some sort of exsanguination. Okay, bleed to death. Okay, that's how they used to do it way in the back when they used to do sacrificial things.
You take a plead to death?
Bleed to death.
Oh, bleed to death, sorry, okay.
That's okay. Okay. And so we started researching where would be the easiest to stab to do when not so the kids could bleed to death, maybe in combination with the sleep drug.
Okay.
Okay. And that's how everything led up to be.
Okay. So that's through research, you
Mhm.
guys have found, now you're saying you and your wife did this together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in doing all the research and everything, how did we get to Monday morning? Take me back to the holidays, when do you think the children died, that type of stuff?
I'm still trying to remember when the children died. I can't put those pieces together.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
We wanted the kids to stick around for the Christmas holiday concert because we didn't want to disappoint that.
Did you guys celebrate Christmas Day?
No, the kids are there before Christmas.
Because family is saying that they
That we were sick.
Well, that they spoke with Megan the day after Christmas. Was Megan alive the day after Christmas?
No, she died right the day after the boys did.
Right. I remember you saying that the other day. That's why. But I've made contact now with your family
Mhm.
and with Megan's family, and so Megan's family is 99% sure that looking back through cell phone records and stuff that they spoke with her, not text message. They spoke with her the day after Christmas,
No.
and she said the children were sick.
No.
Okay, so so you're adamant that they died before Christmas?
Yes.
Okay. The children, you said, died 24 hours or so a day prior to Megan?
Correct.
Okay, so let's go to the day of their death. How did this go down?
Woke up at 11:30 at night. We set the alarm for 11:30 at night, and got up out of bed. And it was to Zoe first.
Okay.
Meg walked into the room, then she walked back into her room.
Step by step. So you guys are sleeping in the master room, I'm assuming,
Yes, my wife and I, yes, and the dog.
and the puppy. Okay. Which boy was upstairs?
Zoe was upstairs in her room.
Okay.
Alec was upstairs in his room. Tyler was asleep downstairs in the library room.
And why again was he down there?
The two of them were sick, so we kept them apart.
Okay. All right. So, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. So we walked to the door, Zoe's door. Meg and I hugged and kissed, and pretty much we know what you need to do. Come back at me when we're done. So I went into Zoe's room, and it took me 2 or 3 hours sitting there because it's a tough But the everlasting salvation and the thought of that everlasting salvation was there, and I needed to save her soul, wanted her to be with us. Megan kept coming in, what's going on? I'm like, it'll be done in a little bit, it'll be done in a little bit. It's getting past that, I'm not that guy, you know? The initial thought was to stab into the umbilicus above the navel, so I could get the inferior vena cava or the abdominal aorta and be bleed out within no time whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I know I tried. I don't know if I ever punctured it. I don't know if I did or not. I saw a little mark on her, but I don't know if I saw anything. But then she rolled and started squiggling, and I put my hand over her mouth and then put a pillow over top of her. So she went, and then she started to fade away. And I just held that until there was no motion left.
So you didn't lay on her?
I did lay on her when she lay on her belly. I'm sorry. I laid on her to keep her down, and I put the pillow on top.
Okay. Do you think you stabbed her or no?
I don't know. I didn't see anything.
Okay. So how long would you say it took you to take her life?
The whole motion,
Yeah.
like from the minute I was sitting in there, or from.
Well, I'm saying once you initially take action, okay, did you have a knife with you?
Yes.
Which knife did you have with you?
The small knife.
Which is what color?
Green.
Okay, that's the green buck knife that you talked about?
The green buck knife, yes.
Okay, all right. So you had that in her bed.
Mm-hmm.
So how long from the time that you had the knife out into the suffocation until you think that she was deceased?
I want to say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right around there. It seemed like that night took forever, so it's hard to really gauge on the time.
Okay, and you said you used a pillow over her head?
Yes.
Was she face up or face down?
She kept moving. I think she was on her back with her head towards the wall, so in that way.
So for 10 minutes to 15 minutes, you held a pillow over your daughter's head?
Mm-hmm.
How long did she kick and scream?
Only for a couple minutes.
A couple minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So like 2 minutes?
I had no timer, but yes.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
guesstimates, looking back.
And I just held it there.
That's a long time.
Yes, it is.
Did the other children hear her?
No.
Did your wife hear her?
My wife kept going out. I felt her in the opening the door to see what was going on, and shutting the door and walking back.
Okay.
Because you could see the light coming in.
Okay. So you think the sun was coming up, or was it just the light from the...
There was light from the hallway.
A light bulb? Okay. So now Zoe is deceased.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens next?
Walk out. Stood with Megan in the room for a little while.
How was the body?
How do you mean?
How was the positioning? Where was the pillow?
There was a pillow behind her head, and her hands were out to the side, and I made sure the covers were on top of her, just in essence to keep her warm.
Did she have anything in her hands?
No, I had put a rosary in her hands later on when I moved.
When you moved the bodies?
When I moved the bodies, yes.
Okay, we'll get to that. And that was post-rigor?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, we're getting a little bit ahead of...
No, that's okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry. Okay. So Zoe's gone. You and Megan console each other, whatever you guys have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens?
We go into Alex's room.
Alex's room?
Yes. The one next to the bathroom, the one upstairs.
Well, upstairs. Okay.
Yeah. And beforehand, we had talked about the aspect of she's got to hold his feet down, and I'll do the stab.
How old's Alec?
13.
Okay, so he's the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happens?
We walk in. He's on his back. she's just sitting there holding his feet together. We're just in there, just eyeing each other, just gaining the confidence, I guess, you know. And I go to, I stabbed him, and he started kicking, was trying to get up, and he kept rolling. So I ended up putting there was a pillow there, and I put a pillow in the back of his head so he wouldn't hit me with the back of his head. And then I reached around with my hand and held his nose in his mouth. And he kept rolling and kicking and rolling and kicking, and then it eventually stopped.
Where was Megan at?
Megan left midway through there and went back to the room.
All right. How long would you say it took to kill Alec?
That one I have no idea. It went quickly, but I don't know.
Okay. And there was blood and everything in his bed?
On his bed, yes.
Where did you stab him?
In the stomach, the same spot that we identified as, you know, where you could get the inferior vena cava.
And what area did you call that?
Inferior vena cava?
No. You called it earlier.
Abdomen?
I mean, it's an overall the abdomen, but I think you used another term earlier. It was the one that you specifically spoke about above the navel and
Umbilicus.
umbilicus.
Yeah, the umbilicus.
Okay. Is that something that you researched and learned, or you knew that from your profession?
Research and learn ahead of time.
Okay.
Especially on a website called Quora.com.
And spell that again.
QUORA.com.
QUORA.com.
Yes.
And what is Quora? If I go research this, what is it going to show me?
Quora.com, you can ask anything they want, and it's people feedback. We happen to find it just by looking up knife techniques. And you ask it anything, and it'll show you, and it'll tell you and explain to you the best way to do things and where to do things, and suggestions how to commit suicide.
I was going to ask, is it like a suicide website, or is it a?
It's an everything website.
So I can go in there and say, how do I change the oil on my?
That I don't know.
Is it like medically based, or?
It's not medically based. It's a lot of topics that people talk about, but don't, I guess, talk about on the internet. I just used it for suicidal techniques and also to get ideas how to do it with the knife.
When were you doing your research on Quora.com?
Started that before Halloween.
Before Halloween?
Yeah.
Where did you learn of it? I know you may have said this. Where did you learn of Quora.com?
I happen to be just researching knife techniques. And it comes up, and a couple of the questions came up as, you know, how do I kill myself with a knife? So I clicked on that, and there was Quora.com. So I clicked on Quora.com. There's a whole bunch of, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yes, I know the internet is very crazy. I know there's some stuff on it. And when you typed in, when you were talking about knife techniques, like was it how to cut up some steak, or is it how to?
Offensive techniques, defensive knife technique.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you've done your research on that going back pre-Halloween.
Yeah.
Did you have to create any type of accounts or anything like that?
Nope. You go in, you ask questions. The suicide ones, when I was asked about suicide, once you clicked in 2 or 3 times, like, you know, the links, they'd ask you to verify your age through Google.
Okay.
But you could click out and just do 3 more times without.
So you don't have to have like a login or a sign-in name or any create an account?
You can create an account, but you don't have to.
You don't have to? Do you remember which device you were using when you were researching Quora.com?
My iPhone. I don't know what the phone number for that is. I want to say it's 0742 or something like that.
0742, you mean the passcode?
No, the phone number to it.
For the iPhone?
Yeah.
What was the passcode for that one again?
5108.
5108?
Correct.
Is for your iPhone, which is what you did the research for Quora.com.
That, and also my black Surface tab.
Surface? Tablet?
Yep.
When did you do this research on the tablet?
Intermittently between.
Is there a login, or is there a sign-in, or a passcode for your tablet?
Passcode for my tablet is 75. It's a faced one, but I'm pretty sure it's 7577 capital G, lowercase ULA.
.com?
No.
No, just capital, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, getting back to taking the life of Alec, and is it Alek?
Yeah.
Okay. Alec, who is 13.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that you were solely responsible for his life loss,
That's correct.
his murder.
That's correct.
Okay. Your wife at this point was where?
She had gone back to the room.
Okay. Had you given the children any medications prior to this night? I know you talked about the pie or whatever that your wife had made. Up until this point, were the children routinely given any type of medications?
We give them some supplements here and there,
Okay.
but
All right. So the night in question, they weren't under the influence of anything. They were just normal.
no, they had the
What'd you call it, a pie or something like that?
pie. Yeah. But then that didn't work that night. I don't remember if we gave them anything. Because those were two separate nights. We tried the pie the one
So you
night.
tried it before.
Mm-hmm. But I don't remember if we tried anything the next night or not.
So you didn't try to like sedate them or anything like that prior to killing them?
They were asleep. Doesn't make sense why we wouldn't. We must have given them the cough medicine again. I'm serious, we must have given them the cough medicine again.
I'm just thinking if you're trying to
No,
do
be
something like
mercy,
that,
yeah.
and you've done a lot of preparation. I mean, you
Right.
started to prepare this back in April. So I was thinking you've done your research and everything like that in the premeditated fashion. So it's, I would just think that one would give, if you have medications at hand and stuff like that, to kind of lower their inhibitions a little bit.
Yeah, we want them to go very peacefully. We didn't not want them in pain.
Okay. So it's possible, and obviously with further investigations as far as the remains and stuff like that, that one will, we'll come up with that at a later
Yes.
time. But okay, so Alec is gone. What happens after that?
I walk into the room, Meg and I console ourselves, and she turned to me, she goes, "We have to finish this, there's one more left, let's go, before the sunlight comes up."
Okay.
I said, okay, so she says, "I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna stand, because the way the downstairs is, sorry, it's dirt. The way the downstairs is, I don't know if you saw the house. Once you got it, my Tyler is the strongest kid, and my Tyler is the quickest kid. And if he got out of the room by chance, you know, it wouldn't help the situation.
Why not?
Because we wouldn't be able to catch him, hence we wouldn't be able to all go together.
Was there fear like maybe he would,
Get away.
like outside of the home, like alert neighbors or something? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was almost like a quick, I don't want to say like attack, but it was a quicker movements with him.
Yes. But same thing. Megan stood outside the door, just in case, so the door couldn't open. And I had gone in, and he was laying on his laying parallel. He was laying on his left side, and I was able to get in and get the knife right in there. I got it. It started bleeding quite a bit, but then being strong, he kept moving. So then again, I put a pillow on top and my hand, and he went really, really, really quick.
So a lot of blood.
I didn't see much blood because I had him covered up, like how much blood came out. I could feel the blood coming out because it was all over my hand, but it was bloody.
And I'm sorry I didn't ask him.
Please.
With the boys, which knife did you use?
It was all the green knife for the kids, and
The buck?
They're both buck knives, but the green knife was for the kids, and the one Megan used to stab herself with.
She also used the green one.
Yes,
Okay.
because we established the fact that I had to get a bigger knife for myself because my body mass is bigger to get the same thing.
Okay. So Tyler, and which room downstairs was Tyler in?
Tyler was in the library room downstairs.
Library room? So if I walk in the house, where at?
You have to walk in the house, the first room on the left is the music room. The second room on the left is the library room with the double French door things.
Okay, and that's the room, was he on a mattress, was he?
He was on the mattress, and the mattress, my wife is very adamant about mattress covers. So he was on top of the mattress cover and all his blankets and everything.
Okay. Did that mattress stay downstairs?
That mattress stayed downstairs. The cover and everything else was brought up when I brought him up to the room.
So obviously there should be, if he bled or bled out, there should be signs of that on the mattress.
The mattress was clean because of the cover,
What do you mean by cover?
by the mattress cover.
Okay, which is cloth?
I don't know what it is, but it doesn't allow fluid or anything to go through.
Okay. Alright.
When I moved him, I was able to undo the cover.
But that's sometime later.
Correct.
Okay. Alright, so Tyler is killed. Who's in the room when he's killed?
It's just me and Tyler. Megan is outside in the door.
What is she saying during any of this?
She's doing meditations.
Was she drinking or consuming anything that would maybe
Not at that point, no.
bring her down? Because it's just a lot for a parent to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot for a human being to go through, let alone a parent. Okay.
But we had salvation in mind. We had to grade it, and that's, in
I
all
got you.
honesty, we love our kids, and it's sad.
No, I got you. I understand. Okay. So now all the children are gone.
Yep.
How long until the sun comes up?
I don't know. It might be about 5 o'clock in the morning, around that time.
Was the sun coming up like part of a rule or anything like that? Because you mentioned it a couple times that Megan told you that you have to do this before the sun comes up. Is there a reasoning behind that?
I don't know why the reasoning was behind that, but it had to be done before the sun came up, yes.
Okay. So it's nothing during your research or investigations or anything like that that has.
Nothing per mine. I don't know what was on her side, research and whatnot.
Okay.
I was just told it needed to be done before the sun came up.
Okay. All right. So they're all deceased. What do you guys do?
Go up to the bedroom. Just started talking. How do we want to, the kids are dead. What do we want to do now? What's going on? What's our next step? What are we going to do?
You mean this wasn't planned?
It was planned, but it was like just the dog. Did she want to go first? Let me go sit, because there was some discussion of me going first and her staying last, her going first. She wasn't sure which one she wanted to do. So we decided that the dog, we wanted the dog with us. Mm-hmm. So she held the backside of the dog down, and I put the, I call them Mexican blankets. They're like these blankets around, and then I was able to hold the knot in her snout and her nose closed, and she went peacefully. Picked her up, put her in her bed, and then Meg was like, I want to go next, I want to be done, and then whatnot.
So you just suffocated the dog?
Yeah. Yep.
So if there was any type of marks or anything like that on the dog, you wouldn't know anything about it?
Yeah. What kind of marks were on the dog? I just suffocated the dog.
You didn't stab the dog?
I didn't stab the dog.
Was there a stab wound on the dog?
That's interesting because I didn't stab the dog.
Okay. Well, there was a stab wound on the dog.
Okay.
The dog was collected as well. So.
I don't know.
Okay.
I doubt.
I mean, it's neither here nor there. I'm just telling you
No.
that that's one of the discrepancies that I've noticed in the statements. Okay. All right. So you kill the dog. Mm-hmm. And then you say you put it in its bed or something like that. Where did you place it in that?
The bed, we wrapped it in the blanket, whatnot, and put it underneath the bedside table, in her bed.
Her. Okay. What was her name?
Breezy.
Breezy. Okay. Did you I'm sorry, where did you kill the dog at?
It was on the foot of the bed on Megan's side.
In the master room?
That's correct.
Okay. And that was, the final resting spot was in the master bedroom, correct?
Correct.
All right, so the dog's dead.
Mhm.
Now what happens?
Meg wanted to go.
Okay.
So we had decided, I said, "What, do you want me to get your wine? What do you want to help calm this down, so it won't hurt as much?" We had some spray stuff, and so she could use that instead. So she wanted some wine and some, it's purple, Tylenol PM. And she started taking that a little bit. Gave her the knife. I laid next to her and she put the knife into her stomach. Okay. And I said, "Did you get the spot?" It's right here. She said, "Yeah, I feel it." Okay. We're laying there for 45 minutes. It's supposed to take about 10 minutes, what everybody says,
If
if you hit the spot.
And what is in that spot? What are you talking about?
The
What
inferior
spot?
vena cava.
Okay.
On the umbilicus. You're supposed to be able to bleed out. They say 1 to 4 minutes, but under 10 minutes.
And what are you specifically targeting within that area?
The inferior vena cava.
Okay.
It's the big blood return.
Okay.
Okay. It's a large vessel and you bleed out in your abdomen. It's quick.
All right.
Okay.
How much did she consume wine or the, I'm assuming, is it grape flavored? You keep saying
Those-
purple.
Yeah, the first one was grape flavored.
What do you mean first one?
She had a glass of wine with the stuff.
Mm.
Okay. We were laying there for about 45 minutes. After she stabbed herself, she says, "I feel nothing happening. Nothing happening." I said, "Okay, this is good. What do you want to do?" She said, "Do we have any Benadryl?" I said, "We have liquid Benadryl." She goes, "Let me have that. Let me try some of that. Maybe that'll put me to sleep or let me go sooner."
Mhm.
So she was drinking liquid Benadryl. And I was checking back on her, give her some peace. Walked around, came back, walked around, came back. And at one point I thought she had passed from doing the Benadryl. Nope, she was still there. And she had sat up.
What makes you think she passed?
She was very quiet. There was no motion. I couldn't see her abdomen going up and down. This is from afar without even me going up to see her. Okay.
Was her eyes open?
Eyes were closed.
She communicating with you?
When I came up, I was like, "Meg?" She was like, I'm here. I said, "Okay." And so I said, "What do you want to do? You want to try more Benadryl? Do you want the knife back again? What do you want to do?" She goes, "Let me try some more Benadryl. And then if not, we'll do a second stab." Okay. Gave her a bunch more Benadryl. Like I said, let that settle in for a while. Settle in.
When you say a bunch more, do you get about approximate amount?
I really don't. I know she was. She
Chugging bottles?
Yeah, there was I don't know, there was a big bottle,
Okay.
like a family-sized Benadryl thing,
She killed the whole bottle?
and in 2 different sippings, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And that wasn't happening, so she decided to go through her liver. Okay, I pulled up the thing and the hepatic liver, we laid it out on where it was on her skin, according to landmarks. And I said, "It's right in this area." So, okay. Then she, with 2 hands, pushed in. And you heard like a little click, as if it went through something. Okay, so I was like, "Okay, sounds like it went through the liver, that's good, okay." She pulled it out, she put the knife right next to her, and I just laid with her. And I laid there and held her, and we just waited. It seemed like hours went by and nothing else happening. I got up, I wanted to check on our boys and our little one to make sure everything was going okay in the house. Everything was okay. Came back and she's sitting up at the edge of the bed. And she's cleaning the wound. I'm like,
What was she cleaning it with?
it was one of my t-shirts. She had, I think she had a towel at one point.
Okay.
But she was definitely, I can't, but she was up, she was washing it, rinsing it at one point. And she was like, "This has gotta be done, this is getting too long, this is ridiculous." I'm like, "Shall we go on, look at different other aspects to do this? How do you wanna do this?" She goes, "I want this ended now." I said, "Okay, what does that mean?" She goes, I want you to take the pillowcase, put a pillow and put it over my head." I said, "I don't know if I can do that." And she looked at me, she goes, "If you love me, you can do this. I wanna be with my babies." And so, yeah, And she just looked at me and she was, "You're strong enough, you can do it." Okay. So I said, "Why don't you take some more Benadryl, so at least you're not gonna fight me, and I'll do it." So she took some more Benadryl, and maybe about 15 minutes later, I came back in the room, I said, "You still wanna do this?" And she talked to me like that, very far out, "Yeah, get it done."
How much Benadryl did you guys have?
I don't know.
Did you have to go get any more during this time?
During that time, no.
What other times did you have to?
After that was done, for me to commit suicide. And I
So
was,
you had already prepared, I mean, you had enough to take care of the children and yourself? Or Megan?
Megan and myself, from what we thought.
How many bottles do you approximately think you had?
We had 2 boxes of Sleepies, I know that, which is straight dimethyl, which is these little pills. We had 2 things of Tylenol PM, I remember that, which is the great purple one. And I think we had 2 bottles of Benadryl, the big bottles.
Family size?
Yes.
But getting through Megan, did she take it all?
She ended up taking a lot more than what we had thought we'd take it. So,
So her numbers should be a lot higher results wise, you know what I mean, like as far as toxicology and stuff.
I'm assuming, yeah.
Okay. Once she was cleaned up, you talked about wiping of the towel or something like that. Did you see a substantial amount of blood or anything outside of the body?
She had kept the shirt on, I didn't look underneath.
Okay. Did you see anything on the bed?
There was blood on the sheets, but then she wanted a different sheet, I remember that, so she put a different sheet down.
So the old one should still be back at the house?
It should be.
Okay. So she tells you that it's not working, she wants you to suffocate her.
Correct.
Pillow, that was the gray pillow I think you kept talking about?
It was a little gray rectangular pillow, yes.
How big?
It's like one of these head pillows.
Like this big?
Yeah, that,
12 by,
it's about the size of half of your case there. No, your case there.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so a small gray pillow should have something.
Hold on. I want to make sure I'm telling you everything perfect. When she changed the sheet, she put a bunch of sheets on a bunch of stuff that was wet on the bathroom floor, and later on I cleaned up and threw that away. So the original sheet is there. I threw it away.
Threw it away or washed it?
I threw it away.
Okay. So any of the sheets that were like found in like the washer or dryer or anything like that, are they related? Involved?
I didn't do any wash, I don't think.
You haven't done any laundry since Christmas?
No.
Okay.
I
Alright,
don't believe I did.
okay.
And so I threw that sheet away because that was full of blood. That sheet was full of blood.
Okay. Alright, so, go on, proceed, sorry.
It's okay. So then it came to me, and Meg had asked that I wait a day or two to make sure everybody passed, make sure the house was all set and that kind of stuff, and come. So that's what I did. I started the Benadryl, I tried hanging myself.
The Benadryl you had to go buy more of,
Correct.
and that was where?
I went to CVS 24 Hours, I went to Publix, and I went to Walgreens.
There's one across by the Starbucks.
That's
I think-
CVS.
CVS, so you went there.
Mm-hmm.
The Publix is right there off of Blake, which is
Mhm.
right there in front of Celebration, and the other one is where? The Walgreens?
Walgreens, right next to Five Guys, and the little restaurant thing there.
Oh, the new area.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And this was the day after or so, or when did you start purchasing more Benadryl?
Not the day after, so yeah.
Did you purchase anything else besides Benadryl?
Alcohol,
What kind?
rum, and some more Coppola. It's our wine.
What's the wine? Like red wine or something?
It's a Merlot, yep.
Okay.
And I also thought that it might be easier. See, we didn't. I'm not much about guns in the house, but was reading on Quora that you could kill yourself with a pellet gun.
Pellet gun?
That's what I was reading. It hurt.
Where'd you shoot yourself?
In the liver and the heart. I have 2 wounds.
The liver and the heart.
The liver the first time. It bled quite a bit. Didn't do anything, but I woke up later on. And
We'll have it checked out. We'll photograph it later. Is the mark still there?
I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
I'm assuming
Check it
it's
out.
been forever.
Okay.
That was the last one. I tried the razor blade to the radial artery, which I told you I hit, but I didn't do it well in the, I didn't do it in the tub, so it dried up. Zip tie around the neck. The only thing that did was irritate my glottis. I couldn't get down the carotid artery because my neck is too big. So then I tried to substitute that in with the towels with pressure points to go in the carotid arteries. I tried to set up hanging over the edge of the beds. Was trying to figure out how to go through and fall on the knife in the right direction to get it upward, up into my, below my xiphoid to get my diaphragm. Was also researching but couldn't quite get to the femoral artery because the way how deep the femoral artery was.
Mm-hmm. Where were you doing your research at?
The internet.
Well, I mean, on what device?
Meg's phone and my phone.
Meg's phone. Okay, and which phone? Because I know you said you had 2.
Hers is 6465, and that is, I think she had a pink case to it.
Okay. Which phone was lost?
My 6536 one, a Samsung, and that one was lost before Christmas.
And where was that one lost at?
It was lost in Florida. I don't know where I lost it from the airport down.
Okay. That was the Samsung? I think you
Yeah,
said like
Galaxy
Note or something?
Galaxy Note 10.
Okay. Which phone was left in like a Starbucks or something in Sarasota?
That one was that phone that was mine, and I went back and got it.
Which phone?
I don't know the number.
You don't know if it was an iPhone or a Droid?
It was an iPhone.
It was your iPhone that you have now? It's still the same phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went back and got it. And I can't remember, was that when the family was still alive that you went down there to Sarasota?
No.
They were already dead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You drove the van, the red van down there?
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a white van or something involved? Was there a moving van, or did it appear you guys were moving at some point? Like moving out of that residence? That was just kind of what people were saying. I don't know if there's any truth behind it.
No.
Okay. Prior to the deaths, I mean, were you guys planning on moving out of that home?
Prior to the deaths. We had planned to. I don't.
Okay, so like, did you ever get a rental truck or anything like that, or
Yeah, move in.
But you guys moved in when? Like, or when? Like May of 2019.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody had said they saw like a moving truck or something out nearby on the residence near the house recently.
Wasn't us.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
No, wasn't us.
You know, people have been calling in, and people have been saying, "Oh yeah, it looked like they were moving out" or something like that. So
No.
okay. So you guys never had a moving truck. All right, on to the next thing, sorry. So you drove down to Sarasota, left your iPhone at a Starbucks. Did they call you, or how did that go about? Did you call it, or what? How'd you get your phone back?
I was leaving and turned around. I realized I started going and turned around and went back.
Okay. What were you telling family during this time frame, like around the deaths and after the deaths?
That were either vacationing at the beach, or I was looking at PT practices to purchase.
Who were you communicating with?
Sisters and mom.
Your sisters? Which sisters?
Kelly. I wasn't communicating with Christy anymore.
Is that Chrissy or Christy?
Chrissy.
Chrissy?
Yep.
You weren't talking with her anymore?
Yep.
When's the last time you talked with Chrissy?
A few weeks back. I don't know the date. It was I really don't, I'm sorry.
What'd you guys talk about?
I was pissed off that she wouldn't stay in my business.
Oh, okay. How about your last conversation with your mom?
That we were gonna eventually be coming up and talking about moving up north, that kind of stuff, just to suffice her and calm her down.
Okay. You talked to your dad lately?
No, I don't think so.
No. When's the last time you talked with him?
I don't know, I really don't know.
Do you guys have a good relationship, or
We have a decent relationship.
how about you and your mom?
My mom and I are very close, and that's why I had to really be evasive with her.
Could she tell that maybe you were being evasive?
She could, that's why I had to reinforce the fact that let's try not to be.
Okay. Your sisters?
My sisters just, they love me, and they have a sixth sense.
They do love you. I've spoken with them.
I know.
I've spoken with your family. All right. So Meg's dead. You come back from Sarasota. We were trying to establish a better timeline before, approximately when she was taken, when Meg died. I know you said something about some football the next day. Do you remember that?
I remember telling you about football, but that was incorrect.
Okay, so the football thing's out of it.
That was incorrect, I'm sorry.
And you're adamant that this all took place before Christmas?
Yes.
All right. Positive, 100%.
Yeah, before Christmas.
Okay. So, have you communicated with anybody after that? Has anybody texted you? Have you been using any of the other devices, anything like that?
Using the devices to text people, yes.
And why'd you do that?
Keep people away so I could finish myself.
Gotcha.
I was in a panic mode that I still need to get to them. I
Yeah,
still have to get to them.
yeah.
And people getting closer and closer. And
I know people said that they were communicating with what they thought were your family members, and
Mhm.
and ultimately it wasn't. Is
no,
that
it was
true?
me.
It was you.
Yep.
The zip ties and the knives and the research and everything, how come it didn't work?
Zip ties didn't work because I couldn't get enough compression on it. The knife, because in all honesty, I chickened out and cowered it out with a knife.
Okay.
I've taken so much Benadryl, then I took this, taken the alcohol with the Benadryl, and every time I seemed to get a little bit closer. There was one day, somehow I woke up in the garage, in my urine and whatnot, and I had thought I died then,
Oh.
and didn't, so.
Okay, and how quick after did you move? You said you wanted the family to be together,
Mm-hmm.
right? So take me through how does this take place? Because when they were all killed, they were all in different positions inside the home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happens?
First day I just laid in bed with Meg the first day after she died. Just laid in bed just with her. I want to say it's the second day after she died. I said, okay, time to get things moving, time to get everything going. And went in, made sure she was covered and everything was taken care of. She was I remember her left leg had fallen off the bed, which was kind of weird. So I was able to move her left leg up and tuck her leg underneath to get her nice and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Moved Zoe in, put Zoe in. Before all this was done, we had the kids bring in all those little, I was telling you about those little altar things.
They're like favorite items or something
Yes.
like that? Okay.
So I had to fix those because I knocked those over after I put Zoe up.
Okay.
So I fixed all that. And then it was which one do I do first? So bring Tyler up or to bring Alec up. And I thought just because of my strength, and I wasn't too strong at the time right there, that I should get Tyler upstairs.
Tyler he was the one that was downstairs.
He was the one downstairs.
And he's 11.
He's 11, yes.
Okay.
So I was able to get him up on my shoulders and carry him up a little bit by little bit.
Okay. And to back up a little bit, I want to speak about Zoe.
Yes.
So Zoe was in her bed.
Correct.
Had you checked, because rigor mortis was brought in, but you talked about it.
Yeah.
Did you check on her periodically to see when she'd come out?
I hadn't checked on her periodically. I just knew she was in rigor. Just because I went to position her. So in my mind, she had to stay warm.
Okay.
And her arms were outside, so I went to put her arms down to make her nice and comfortable. And I couldn't move her arms, and I was like, okay, she's still in rigor. So I brought the blanket above her just so that she would be warm until I was able to reposition her.
And when you say reposition her, when you're doing all this, is this still while she's in her bed, or had you already moved her to your bed?
She was still in her bed.
Still in her bed?
Yes.
Okay. So when she's movable,
yes,
and under the blankets and everything, at that point is when you moved her to be in bed with Megan?
Correct. I undid the fitted sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I scrunched it together and carried her in my arms and laid her flat, made sure her head was comfortable on the pillow, and let her to sleep there. Then I had to pick up everything I knocked over.
Okay. And her head, because I understand that she was at the foot of the bed.
That's correct.
Right? So she's laying like this, left to right, Meg's laying like this. Is her head towards Megan's side of the bed or your side of the bed?
The head is towards my side of the bed.
Okay.
Her feet are towards...
And you slept, if you're looking at the bed, on the left side of the bed, Megan slept on the right side of the bed?
Yes.
Okay. So her head's on your side, left side of the bed,
Mhm.
positioned feet towards Megan.
Correct.
All right, wrapped up in a blanket.
Correct.
All right. Okay. So Tyler's next.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler is downstairs.
Correct.
You said that you were able to get him eventually upstairs to the
Mhm.
room. So how do you do him? What happens?
I moved his mattress from his bedroom because he wasn't on his mattress.
Okay.
Moved his mattress from his bedroom and put it on the floor.
His bedroom upstairs?
Correct.
Okay.
And pick him up and just carry him up at a time.
His items or trinkets or whatever you called them were already in your bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
And what specifically did he want to bring with him?
He wanted the scarf, the soccer scarf.
Soccer scarf?
Yep.
And what team was that from?
That was from the Team USA versus Canada game that we went to a couple weeks prior.
Okay. Team USA. Okay. Did you position that on his body?
No, I positioned it on the toy box itself.
On the toy box.
Mhm.
All right. You said something about your daughter's hands. What did you put in her hands?
A set of rosaries, I think.
Set of rosaries?
Mm-hmm.
How about Tyler?
It was some kind of religious aspect, whether it be rosaries or some kind of something along that lines.
Now, did you guys already have these items?
Those are mine from collection growing up.
Growing up? All right. Did you grow up in a church?
I was a forced Catholic, yes.
Forced Catholic?
Yes.
Okay, understood. Okay, so Tyler gets a set of rosaries.
Mhm.
How is he positioned?
He is on his, when I put him on, he is on his, like, towards his stomach, with his head towards the side. I just can't remember which, his head was facing, I think, back to the back of the wall, back of the building, but I'm sure.
Back, okay. Is he on his face? Is he on his side? How is his face?
He's on his side, half his face is like, it's more so like right here.
Okay. All right. And then that leaves,
Alec.
so take me through that.
That one was tough because I had to get the mattress out from underneath him because I couldn't drag him on the mattress. So I took the blanket, his comforter blanket, put it on the ground, and we moved him to the ground. Then moved the mattress into the room.
How did you move him to the ground? What do you mean?
Picked him up and put him on top of the comforter that was on his bed. I put the comforter on the ground so he wouldn't be laying on the rug. Put that on the ground. Put him on the ground. Brought the mattress into the room. Made sure the mattress was set, and then put him on the
Did you have to like drag him by the comforter, or did you pick him up, or how does this work?
I moved the sheet and I put the comforter on the bed, then I took the sheet, picked the sheet up with him and put it onto the blanket, the comforter. Moved the bare mattress into the room, then was able to pick him up and take him. I was adamant, I did not want to drag him, he's my son, I did not want to drag him. So I picked him up as the best I could, and little steps at a time I got him through.
So you carried him? Carried all the children?
Yeah.
Okay. That's just something that you wanted to do as a parent?
Versus dragging them?
Right.
Yeah, the ultimate respect to them, I understand we have different opinions about it, but the ultimate
I
respect.
can see it.
Okay.
You don't want to drag him like a piece of
No, he's
garbage.
not a piece of meat, he's my son.
Absolutely. Okay. So you get him positioned, you get Alec positioned on the mattress. Which way is he positioned?
He's on his side, head towards the window, looking up to our bed.
Looking up?
I think he's looking up towards us, he's on one side or the other. But I'm pretty sure he's facing up towards the bed.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Because I know one of the boys was almost face down when he was found, and one was on his side, like you just described Tyler was. So I was wondering maybe if Alec.
If any of them were closer to face down, that would have been Tyler.
Right. And Tyler was closer to the bed next to your wife?
No, Tyler was the last one.
Okay. So Tyler was the one closest, or the farthest away from the bed?
Correct.
All right. So Meg, Zoe,
That's right.
Alec,
Yeah.
Tyler.
Correct.
Okay. You good?
My eyes are burning.
You need a...
Yeah, can I have a tissue? Do you mind?
Yeah. I'll give you a moment.
I'm okay.
You good on your drink? You need water or anything?
I just need water,
Take a sip.
Like I said, I have nothing to hide. I'm telling you.
All right.
Confused about the stabbing with the dog because I didn't really stab the dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that maybe during this time frame that you don't recall, but it was noticed during yesterday's events that the dog was stabbed.
I didn't do that. I mean, it doesn't matter.
No.
I just let you know.
Okay. So the children have been positioned.
Mhm.
Okay. You guys are coming back together as a family.
Mhm.
And I'll use your words. I mean,
Okay.
you've chickened out at this point,
The knife.
with the knife and
Mhm.
that type of stuff. The pellet gun during the course of this was tried, was attempted. How come you didn't graduate to a real gun?
Because in doing so, I had to. Sorry. It was a whole 3-day wait list.
Well, we were before. I mean, some days have passed. I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad idea looking back
time,
on it.
it's one of those. Oh, it'll happen this way. It'll do it this way. Sometimes when I took the Benadryl, I seriously went to sleep for like 2 days. It seemed like 2 days later, you know. And
Where would you sleep at?
either next to Megan in the attempt, or somewhere in that room. Sometimes right on the edge, on the floor down there,
Okay.
between the bed and the window. Every time I said, "Well, let's try it," and it's like, "Well, now I gotta depend on that for 3, but we can get it done quicker." And then
The power was on during this time frame?
Yes.
Where'd you guys keep the temperature? Do you remember?
I don't, but I want to say, because I was in charge of it, because I was over there, 68.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Up in the room, I think there was like some, I don't know if they were humidifiers, I don't know if they were moisture, what
They're not
were those?
humidifiers. Those are air purifiers.
Air purifiers.
Mhm.
Were those there prior to?
The white one by the window was there, because we kept the air purifier going, because we both have heavy allergies. The black one I brought in from the boys' room, just to keep going. Then we use candles and that kind of stuff, and I did sage smudges and that kind of stuff.
For what?
Sage smudges allowed for spirits to pass on and that kind of stuff, so I wanted to make sure no one kept still.
Candles were for the same reason?
Yep.
So, it's been some time, and we weren't found, or we didn't get there till, what, Monday, which would have been the, what, 12th, maybe? 13th? What were you doing there during this time frame? We're talking over 2 weeks.
Trying to kill myself.
Were you leaving the home? Were you going over to the other place in Georgetown or whatever it is?
I went over to the other place once because my daughter really, really, really wanted her Mickey Mouse necklace. So I went up into the condo to see if I could get the Mickey Mouse necklace to find it in the jewelry box, and I couldn't find it.
So she didn't get it. Now, was that the only time you left?
No, I would leave every time I would be up because I need to go get either more alcohol, more Benadryl, and just food as we're trying to get through this.
Publix or fast food or?
Fast food, unfortunately, but I felt at the point that I went to McDonald's once or twice.
Okay. Were you checking the mail?
I checked the mail also
Okay.
to make sure everything was, bringing in stuff so nothing would lead to suspicion out in front.
Okay. Deliveries, boxes?
Pulling them in because I didn't want anything to be seen during my being unsuccessful time after time after time.
Yeah. So there was like a pile of boxes and stuff like near the door? Were those like presents or what in the world was all that?
Pile of boxes near the door.
Yeah. So people at the scene were telling me that there was like, it appeared like almost like Christmas presents. Did the kids get to open Christmas presents?
No, they weren't alive for Christmas.
They were not alive for Christmas. Okay.
By the printer.
I think there was like packages or something like they were talking
Yep.
about. Okay. So during this past weekend, the power was shut off, is that right?
Sometime this weekend, yes. I'm not quite sure when.
Okay.
The recollections were, I don't really know, I'll be honest with you.
Did you often sit out on the front porch?
Out and sit out of the front porch? No.
Because the day that the agents and everybody were there, you were seen out on the front porch.
No, I don't know why. I don't remember that morning really, like how things matriculated. I just remember I pounded the door, and just hours before I'd already fallen down those stairs once before. So
Why is that?
my legs gave out, probably because I was so OD'd on Benadryl or dehydrated. I was peeing brown, so I was probably just so dehydrated or so whatever.
Okay.
But I don't know exactly how I got. Like I said, I remember hearing the door knock. So it was this fast knock. I was like, okay, so I came downstairs. And for something was telling me somebody was coming, and I did not know what the whole deal was. The night before, I remember feeling like the house was being surveillanced. And I was seeing all these red and green dots and
Oh yeah, I remember.
things. I don't know if it was, I don't know what the cause of it was.
Okay.
But I came downstairs and I opened the door and no one was there after the knocking, because it took me a while to get down there.
That was the night before?
No, that was that morning.
Oh, the morning.
Yeah. And after that, I don't have much of a recollection of, except a bunch of guys coming in. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know why I was sitting out on the front porch.
Yeah, I guess you were seen out on the front porch and then they went and made contact with you inside or something.
And then I also remember seeing Megan out there talking to you guys, which wasn't true.
No.
No, I know, but I'm just telling you what, you know, it's like, so I don't, that's why I mean, I don't quite.
But now that it's been a couple days, you've probably got a better recollection of what transpired that morning.
I don't have too much of a recollection that morning, honestly.
Well, I mean, looking back, I mean, I can tell you now she's deceased.
No, I know
So we know she wasn't talking.
Correct, yeah.
So do you remember when they come in the house,
Mhm.
do you remember what you told them?
No,
Okay, all right,
I don't.
all right. One thing that just popped in my head, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's going a little bit before all of this.
Yes.
We had talked about Academy Sports.
Yes,
What all was purchased at Academy Sports?
the two knives.
Were they the only things you purchased that day, or what?
They're intermittent days.
You didn't purchase them together?
No,
The green one, when did you purchase it?
that one was purchased right after Thanksgiving.
After? How about the other one?
The other one, sometime afterwards, before Christmas, because Meg and I were going over what needed to be done, stabbed and where, and she made a comment to the fact that the green one wouldn't even go through me.
So you went and got a bigger one?
I had to get a bigger one for myself.
Okay. So there was like a whole bunch of items that appeared like they came from Academy Sports, like with a bunch of the SKUs still, like tags and stuff like that. There was like a
Mhm.
bag of stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like some clothing articles and that type of stuff?
Big clothing. I remember I picked up 2 fishing lures, I think it was. Because the boys wanted to go do some fishing of some sort. So I figured, you know, if we had time beforehand, we could go check out the 2 lures. And then I picked up the 2 pellet guns on 2 different occasions.
2 guns on 2 different occasions.
Yeah, 2. One at one occasion, one at the other occasion.
Okay. How many times did you frequent Academy?
No. Sorry. I might have gone there 4 times or 5 times.
Did you go alone?
The clothes I know what you're talking about. There's clothes in the back of the van. We had picked up a bunch of clothes for Alec.
Okay.
Okay, because of upcoming events and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we weren't quite sure when everything was going to occur, so we had a bunch of clothes purchased for him.
All right. And did you guys go as a family when you guys purchased that?
No, it was just Meg and I. The kids were home with Zoe.
During any of the trips when you were buying fishing lures or anything like that, were you guys with the kids?
No.
Okay. Pellet guns, when were they purchased?
After the kids and Meg were dead. I'm going to say right before Christmas or right after Christmas or around that time.
You guys use any debit cards, credit cards, cash?
Cash.
Cash?
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you used a debit card? Or a credit card?
I don't know because I haven't needed to. We purchased those clothes on credit card. I remember that, the Bank of America card. But after that, we had cash around, so we just decided to use cash.
Alright, so prior to their deaths, you guys were already using cash?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. You said you used the Bank of America card for the clothing?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. The day you're taken into custody or made contact with, obviously you're transported and treated. You feel much better now? maybe not mentally, but physically you feel?
Sure.
Okay. Where's the guns at?
One was underneath the bed because I shot myself. I was laying next to it, so I put it underneath the bed. The other one, I found out was not that good of or whatever, so I put it in a reusable shopping bag in the garage on the top shelf.
It's in one of those bags that you bring to Publix or whatever?
Freezer bag, yep.
Okay. Oh, a freezer bag.
No,
okay.
no, those reusable cooler bags.
A reusable cooler bag on a top shelf in the garage.
Yes.
Now, there's like a detached, you talking about that, the garage out there?
Yes.
Okay, so the detached garage, top shelf.
Top shelf, it's on the, yeah.
All right. Is there any other weapons or anything like that in the home that was used during any of these deaths or anything like that?
I don't believe so.
So the 2 knives, because we got those,
Mm-hmm.
and the 2 guns.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you guys leave any notes or journals or anything like that?
We left a note trying to explain what we did.
All right. Did you guys sign that?
No, we just typed it up and printed it.
It was already printed?
Mhm.
Was it printed when Megan was still alive?
No, I printed it after Megan was alive. We wrote it up together, and I just didn't print it beforehand.
Did you print that off of which computer? Was it
My
like a
phone.
tower?
It was a phone.
Your phone was connected to a printer?
Yeah, you can air print.
Okay. So that there would probably be record or something on your phone of that.
If I saved it. I don't remember if I saved it or not.
What kind of zip ties did you try to use?
They're about that wide,
Mhm.
and they're long. Pretty industrial.
Okay. Where'd you get those at?
Celebration Hardware.
Is that like an Ace Hardware or something like that? Something. Celebration Hardware?
Yeah.
When did you buy those?
I bought those not for that purpose. I bought those for the sofa because we had trouble with the sofa keeping together. So I bought that for that.
How long ago?
Beginning of October.
Alright.
And then afterwards I just looked at it and was like, I could use this for myself, you know.
Yeah. Did you physically put one around yourself? How'd you get it off?
Walked into the bathroom and I have what my wife calls the industrial strength toenail clippers. And I was able to cut it with that.
Okay. Where's that zip tie at?
I tried it multiple times.
Mhm.
The pieces of them I kept in a box on top of my dresser.
What kind of box?
It's just a brown box that had soap in it.
Okay.
And I just piled them there. I was trying to keep the place neat.
So the used zip ties that were around your neck
Mhm.
are on a brown box.
In a brown box.
In a brown box
Mhm.
on top of your
Black dresser.
black dresser inside of your master bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anything else that was used? Any type of straps or ropes or
I had
anything
an
like that?
extra strap that I was going to use. It's a.
Gonna use or used?
I tried using it.
Okay.
For setup purposes. I hadn't gone that way yet.
Mhm.
I was going to give the Benadryl and whatnot another try. Those tensioner straps.
I think we talked about it the other day. Ratchet straps.
We did talk. Okay.
Yeah. We talked. You mentioned it the other day. I just didn't know.
Okay.
Just trying to run through things.
That's okay. I was either going to put it on the hinge of the door,
Mhm.
put my feet against the door and lean forward, or do the same thing up in the bed, able to hitch it
Did
up.
you ever wrap that around your neck?
Mhm.
Like test it?
Mhm.
What color was the straps?
Red.
Red straps. Where are they at?
Oh, the tensioner, that thing.
Yeah, the ratchet strap.
There, there's one.
Okay, where's it at?
It's on my side of the bed, hanging on the headboard.
Okay, so it's hanging from the headboard.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked about a bunch of like homeopathic type of stuff, like some alternative medicines or whatever that you may have tried to use or that you believed in or whatnot. One interesting thing that was brought up to me was there's arsenic.
I know.
Tell me about that.
Oh, there is arsenic?
Yeah,
Where?
in your home.
If I would have known that, I would have used that.
So you didn't use that.
No.
Okay.
Where was arsenic?
It was collected. There's a lot of like old school medicine. I didn't know if maybe, because you had talked about the other day, your wife was maybe into like a little bit of alternative medicine.
Yeah, she's in alternative medicine.
So there was like thistlewood or thistleweed or something like that.
Thistle.
What is it called? Something milk?
Milk thistle. That's for the liver.
Milk thistle. That's for the liver?
Mm-hmm. Liver detox.
So did you know that there was arsenic in your home?
No.
No. So that should not be in any of the bodies?
No.
Okay. That you know of?
That I know.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that would have probably killed you. But
I was trying to see if I could mail order arsenic.
really?
I'm not lying to you. They have this pill out of Mexico, too. That gets caught up in customs 10 to 20% of the time, so I was even trying to do that.
What is it, like a suicide pill or something?
Yeah.
Damn. You also researched that on your phone or tablet or something, or?
It was a phone, I do believe, at that time.
And is that after the deaths?
Mhm.
After Meg?
I'm grabbing at anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like you're desperate at that point. All right. What are you most upset about?
That I'm here. That I'm not with my family.
Let me see the list here on this. So, I've been in constant contact with the family, with your family, your living family. And there's some things here that I'm gonna try to answer for them, okay? Because you've upset a lot of people, okay? And I'm not gonna get into your beliefs and everything like that. You and I both agree that we don't have the same beliefs, all right? I'm not discrediting you, I'm not saying that you're a bad person or anything like that, but there's just some things that I don't believe.
Okay.
All right? Did you guys, since you guys seem very planned, this is very methodical, other than the fact about you taking your own life, which I'm still kind of questioning, because you guys, if you had such a method and you've done your research over this time, I don't understand how you get to the killing of the children and then you and her have to take some time to see, like, okay, what's gonna happen here? Am I gonna go first? Or are you gonna go first? It just seems like to me that you guys would have a set regimen, like, okay, before sunup the children have to be gone. The next day we're gonna console each other, do this. Meg, you go first, then I go, and here's how I'm gonna go. Now you've already said that you chickened out, but it seems like to me that you would have already had a plan. Like you would have said, okay, well here, I'm gonna use this knife, or I'm gonna use this gun or something. It seems like that just doesn't make sense to me. Okay?
I understand that.
And I'm not getting upset or anything, I just don't,
No. I'm just telling you as it is.
and I appreciate that. Did you guys have any wills in place?
We had a will in place some time ago.
Okay.
I don't know if it's up to date.
Okay.
It was made like 6 years ago.
Okay. And are you supposed to have your parents go over things, or who's kind of left in charge to take care of what you guys have, or as a family? I mean, who's supposed to step in?
No, yeah.
So in the will, it doesn't say. I mean, you obviously probably weren't planning this back 6 years ago.
Mhm.
This is something from 2019.
We left a note on the desk table, hopefully when you guys have found us, saying, when you find us, this is the person in contact on Cindy, Cindy Kopko, and this is where the car is, this is where the life insurance policies are, this is where the will is, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So that note should explain everything from this newest development in your life, as far as the plan to kill each other and then to move on.
No, that note doesn't explain anything, it just tells them where everything is.
Okay. To contact Aunt Cindy.
Well, yeah,
That's Megan's aunt, Cynthia.
Megan's aunt, yep.
And what's her last name again? Kopko or something?
Her maiden name is Kopko.
Okay. All right. So some of this stuff is for the family. Okay, both sides. Why was Tyler saying he wasn't returning to school this semester?
He might not have been returning back to school, his school that semester, because he might have been going to Montessori school.
Montessori school.
Yeah, he might have been going to a different school.
Okay. Why was Megan telling people you guys were coming up for Christmas? And I don't know if that's in person or if that was via text. If that was you telling people via text, then let me know. Or
No, we had never said we were coming over for Christmas.
Meg never told anybody?
Not to my knowledge, for Christmas. Our thing was to stay down here.
All right. How did and this is more or less for me too, I mean, this is something that they bring up, but were the children really that receptive to it? Were they that understanding of this pact from the beginning?
They could only understand to a certain point because they were children.
Correct.
Okay.
But I'm saying 13 and 11, I mean, I have some.
They could only understand to a certain point where they're children.
Okay.
We explained to them and wanted to get their feelings about the aspect of, if mommy and daddy die, if mommy and daddy take their own lives, get their feedback. And their constant response with different skews of the question was they want to be with us. Okay?
And what do you think led Megan into researching this? What was her?
God, the ridiculous amount of pain and the ridiculous amount of she couldn't live. She had just a recent miscarriage.
Okay. Tell me about that.
We had one miscarriage before when she got sick.
When was that?
Let's see, Tyler was 11, so that'll be about 8 years ago.
Okay. So she had a miscarriage. Where were you guys at 8 years ago?
We were living in Connecticut. We just vacationed down here.
You guys bought that in Georgetown a while ago, didn't you?
2005, yeah.
Yeah.
We bought it and then we were expecting Alex.
You good?
So we decided to go up to family to have the baby. And that increased family tensions beyond belief.
Okay.
So
she miscarried about 8 years ago in Connecticut.
Yeah.
All right. Did she go to get any treatment or doctors or anything like that?
She does. When she got sick with that major liver thing, which is rather on the same thing, she started seeing doctors. We went to doctors up and down, thousands and thousands and thousands.
Where at?
Brigham Women's Children's Hospital. We went to Yale. We went to Hartford Hospital. We went to Backus Hospital. We went to.
Was there any primary that she would see back home in Connecticut?
Yes, Doctor. He's in Canada now. Doctor. Can't remember his name. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but the other primary doctor was Dr. Kendra.
Kendra?
Kendra.
Where at?
Waterford Crossroads. What is her last name? I can't remember her last name right this second. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. What city? Where was she at?
Waterford.
Waterford?
Connecticut. Yep.
Okay. So she had been to the doctor up there.
Yep. Multiple.
Had she been to any in Kissimmee or in Central Florida?
Not till we came back down here.
Okay. And who was she seeing down here?
She saw a lot by telecommute. She saw.
She ever go to Celebration?
She went to Celebration.
Okay. So they would have some type of records of her.
Yeah.
All right. How about the boys? How about Zoe?
Zoe then go to the Franz Center.
Where?
Franz Center.
Where's that at?
In Orlando.
Okay.
That's about all I can tell you.
How about dentist specifically?
Yeah.
Where at?
Celebration Dentist.
Celebration dentist?
Yeah. The
Oh,
pediatric
everybody? Your wife?
My wife, no. My wife would go to Sage.
Sage Dental?
Sage Dental, yes.
Is that in Orlando?
That's right down in the Loop.
Oh, in the Loop?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And I think my two boys went there also, but I know my two boys went to pediatric dentists.
Perfect.
In addition to Zoe.
Okay. Well, that'll help us, obviously.
No, please.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay, well, that's good news. And the most recent miscarriage you spoke of, what was that?
That was in September.
September?
Yeah, right around September.
What happened?
We took some time to get away in June. Found out we were happy, you know. Went to Nashville, went to all that kind of stuff because the kids got back, everything progressing. Wife started getting sick. There would be a couple times where I would fly in and literally take the next flight out to come back here because she was in such pain. Things progressing. We went to an ultrasound, and it was that whole, oh, maybe this, maybe that, you know. It was
Where did you go to the ultrasound at?
a Celebration ultrasound.
Like Celebration ultrasound or Celebration
In the hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah.
Did you guys go into like the ER, or was it just a regular
No,
or scheduled?
It was a scheduled ultrasound because we started with the nurse midwives because we weren't sure we were going to do a home birth or not.
Okay.
And because Meg was over 40, they wanted to get us into an ultrasound just to make sure, confirm and everything. And couldn't hear anything, couldn't see anything.
How far along?
We want to say it was about 8 weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks in that aspect.
6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
We weren't sure, so they rescheduled another ultrasound to go back 2 weeks later. And then I flew back to Connecticut, and that was one of the ones where she literally called me, got a hold of me when I landed, and said, you need to get back here because I'm having a miscarriage, I'm hemorrhaging.
Okay.
So I flew back, and she had a late miscarriage and everything.
Tell me about the miscarriage. Did you go to the hospital?
She went to her nurse midwife, sorry.
Nurse midwife, where at?
I'm trying to remember. I cannot remember the name of it, I apologize, it's in Orlando.
Okay. But there should be some type of documentation.
It should be, yes.
And was there any type of medical procedures or anything like that at that point?
Nope. They would send her things like go get another repeat ultrasound or go get, you know, or not repeat ultrasound, but repeat blood work to make sure her, whatever the hormone goes down.
Okay. So she's hemorrhaging.
Mhm.
She goes to the hospital. Or what? Tell me about it. What happens?
She lays in bed.
Lays in bed. All right. How long passed by from the time that she was hemorrhaging to when she was seen by the midwife? How long was she in bed?
I don't know, I'll be honest with you.
Okay. Was there an elaborate story that you guys possibly buried something on the property?
We buried the umbilicus on the thing on the property,
You buried the.
the piece. Yeah.
Okay. Where at?
Underneath the bush in the back,
Underneath the bush in the back. Okay. Where's the bush?
right by the propane tank.
Bush by the propane tank is where you buried
This little thing. We've
said item under.
Yeah, we burned it.
Burned it?
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
We burned it to ashes and then buried the ashes.
So you bury the ashes?
Yes.
Okay.
So this will be your house, Tony, correct? Right here, that's your pool?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the bush and propane tank in reference to?
This is the garage.
Okay,
There's a total filter, propane tank is here, the bush is right there.
right here?
Yep.
Okay. Somewhere in that area, okay. And the propane tank and bush are right there?
Yep. The bush is, the
Okay.
propane tank is behind the bush.
Okay.
Okay, well, that answers that. I mean, there was some concern from the family. Did you guys report that up, or did you guys tell the family up north, your family up north about that?
We told some of them,
Yeah,
yes.
because some of them knew, and some of them didn't necessarily know what to believe. Was Megan actually ever diagnosed? I know we talked a little bit about it the other day about possibly like Lyme's disease or something like that. Was she ever diagnosed anything with the kidney pain and everything?
Everybody kept throwing out all different diagnoses, nobody knows what's going on.
Okay. So
She got drug-induced hepatitis.
drug-induced hepatitis.
Yeah.
And who diagnosed her or whatnot with that?
Brigham and Women's, Brigham Women's and Children's Hospital,
Okay, where's that at?
Massachusetts.
Mass. Brigham, Williams, and Children's Hospital would have record of some type
Mhm.
documenting her that she has.
Correct.
Okay. Now, some of this is kind of getting off topic here, but I typically don't do this, but in this very extenuating circumstances, I felt that I should try to answer some of the questions that are out there. Obviously, it's been brought up that your finances are a mess.
They are a mess, yeah.
Yeah. Does Megan actually know the complexity of your financial mess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does she know about why the feds were at your house on Monday?
But the feds are at our house on Monday.
Does she know about the investigation from up north?
Oh, yeah. About the business and everything, yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, because they don't even know if they knew that, if she knew that, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't, okay.
she
All
knows.
right. Okay. So I'm not gonna question you about anything to do why they were at you or anything like that. My life, we crossed paths on Monday.
Okay.
I don't have never heard of you before that. All right.
This had nothing to do with the finances, though.
Okay, and that was kind of my,
This has something to do with the fact that because with the transition and the apocalypse coming towards the end of days, coming the end of December, we needed to make this transition because by the end of December, this is when this was supposed to happen.
the apocalypse and everything by the end of December.
Mhm.
Okay. How about if she would have kept the baby? Would you guys still have done this?
This was what's supposed to happen.
I'm just saying, between me and you, because it seems like when you speak about the miscarriage and stuff, that seems like it's a trigger, like it's a
It's
stressor.
triggered depression.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think, and we can speculate, I don't know, I mean, what's done is done. Do you think that if she was gonna have, because you said you were joyous, you were happy,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that maybe that would have changed something if she were to keep the baby?
With the knowledge that we had, that this needed to be done then, it still would have happened.
Okay, your beliefs are your beliefs.
Beliefs are beliefs, yes.
Okay, all right. So you were set in stone, there was, okay. Did you, was notifying the family prior to this ever part of the plan or anything like that? No? Okay. Keeping it very private, like you said, you were kind of,
Correct.
you guys were a very private family.
Mhm.
You guys spoke of, you guys had a will together. Did Megan have one on her own? Did she have her own will?
No.
You guys just had a family?
Joint will.
Okay. And this is more or less stuff for the attorneys and stuff, but did you guys have any life insurance policies in
Yeah,
place?
it's all in that box.
All in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Your dad spoke about like Knights of Columbus or something?
It's Columbus, yeah.
Knights of Columbus?
Mhm.
Okay, so you know what he's talking about?
Yep.
What do you want done with the stuff here in Florida as far as the Georgetown properties and the personal effects inside the home?
Whatever needs to be done.
I don't get involved in that. I'm here just speaking about the deaths and everything, but I've spoken with the family and I said, listen, that's something that maybe you guys need to work out with some attorneys and stuff. But I just told her I would try to answer some of this.
We don't care, we wanted to leave everything behind.
Okay. All right. Because obviously if there's photographs and stuff like that, these are their nieces and nephews and grandchildren and that type of stuff and loved ones. They would love to have
They
something.
can have anything they want.
Okay. They love you. They don't understand everything that took place. They are angry, they're hurt, but they're going to hold on to the memories and everything that they've had. And they want to remember the brother before all of this, okay? So they looked up to you and they admired and everything for you. Is there any messages or anything like that you want me to relay to them? Because I will speak with them today.
Just tell them that I love them, but this was done, a decision our family made to do.
Okay.
Maybe not so bluntly, but
No, that's fine, that's fine. You said ashes earlier. Who's the cremator?
maybe it was,
Meg?
yeah.
Where'd she do it at?
We got a paint can from Celebration Hardware, put the ashes inside the empty paint can.
So the ashes are actually inside of a pink can buried underneath?
Nope.
Paint?
Paint, P-A-I-N-T.
Paint?
Yep, we put them inside there, put a little olive oil, put a little bit of sage and burn. let it burn, and then when they calmed down, we dug this little hole and put it in the ground.
In the can?
Nope,
No, just the ashes?
it's just the ashes, didn't want to pollute.
Okay, understood. Yeah, I got you. All right, let me get you a little bit more water. I need to step out and go over some things real quick. You okay for now? As best we're gonna be.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Give me a couple minutes. For your water. Just get a cup or something, whatever you want to do. Detective Quinn has a list of kind of the items, the electronics, we're gonna try and go through.
What color phone case did you have on your phone? You got an iPhone, right?
Yeah,
Was it white or black?
mine was black,
Black iPhone?
yes.
Okay.
But the cover, I don't know what color the phone actually was, though.
What about the phone case? Black?
Yes, I think so.
Remember which kind of iPhone model it was?
My personal one was the 10 or the X, whatever it's called.
10 Rex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then my son had a similar one, which it looks almost the same. And that was Tyler's phone.
Okay.
I think he had a black case too.
Okay.
I want to make sure it was recording, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So some kind of updates from yesterday. So I had the unfortunate task of attending autopsies yesterday. Yeah. It's part of my job. However, everyone is not easy to go through, especially children. All right. I have children of my own, so I often think of mine when I see other children like that, and lots of stuff runs through my head. Sorry.
Okay.
However, some of the evidence noted and some of the injuries that were noted aren't consistent with some of your statements.
Okay.
So there are ways, I don't know how much training and education and stuff that you have as far as in the medical field. I know you said you're a physical therapist. Blood flow, we spoke of earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you understand that when a person is dead, their heart is not pumping?
Yes.
We're all under the same agreement on that? Which means that if there's an injury to a person, like say a stab wound, they would be able to tell, all right, if there's no blood that is being pumped at the time of that injury.
Okay.
Okay, which would make that wound post-mortem
Okay.
after the person has been deceased, after the person has been killed.
Okay.
So, looking back on things, the boys,
Yep.
are you sure that you stabbed them prior to them being deceased?
Yes. 100% sure, without a doubt.
Okay. So if a doctor, medical examiner, tells you that the wounds, or tells me, are done post-mortem, what would you say to that?
Absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect.
Okay. You're firm on that?
Firm.
Okay. Because everything we've talked about has been pretty damn consistent, you know what I'm saying? But the biggest things were, she had some concern yesterday that it appeared, and she even noted that the boys' injuries, without a doubt, were done after they were dead.
No.
Okay.
I can tell you that absolutely 100%, because after it was done, they jerked and the knife went. I had to find the knife both times afterwards, after I was done suffocating.
Was the knife in them as they were being suffocated?
No.
So we'll go through this a little bit slower paced before, as far as the death.
Okay.
Okay. Remind me which boy died first.
Alec, upstairs.
Alec upstairs. He is 13.
Correct.
Laying in bed.
Mm-hmm.
You have the green knife.
Correct.
Do you have to, almost in an attack fashion or whatever you want to call it? I mean, I'm sure if he's awakened, as my children would be, they would say something or they would, see me. Did you have to close his mouth at that point to keep him from preventing?
Nope. The way he was positioned, the blankets were on top of him and the stomach was totally exposed. I don't remember if he was wearing a shirt or not, but his stomach was totally exposed. And for some reason, he had pillows blocked up on his chest,
Okay.
the way he was sleeping. So I put my hand on top of the pillows with my left hand, my right hand stabbed. Pulled it out, and then he jerked, and the knife went flying underneath the square headboard thing,
Square headboard thing.
their bookcase thing.
Okay.
He started swearing and kicking the wall and that kind of stuff, and that's when I was able to get...
Was your left hand physically on his face?
My left hand at that time was on the pillows that were on his chest.
Okay. So was his face exposed? Could you see him?
If I looked up a little bit, yes.
Okay. So how many times does the knife thrust into him? Once.
Once.
And I can't remember which boy suffered greater injuries. Do you remember? As far as marked wounds? Stab
Both
wounds.
had one wound each.
Well, one was greater than the other because one was more exposed than the other.
Oh, okay.
So almost as if it was maybe a slicing fashion or something like
Nope,
that.
both of them were like this.
How were you holding the knife? Like downward?
Downward, yeah.
Okay. And so you went in like this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You wouldn't go in like this?
Not with Alec. It was like this, because I was laying like this side.
You were like this, you had his arm over the pillow and your
Yes.
his stomach's here, his head's here, feet are over here.
Yes.
Okay.
Come right-handed.
Right-handed. Your wife was right-handed.
My wife was, yes.
Okay. And Tyler,
Mm-hmm.
what happened there?
I lay next on top of him, and I came with him. I don't remember how I held the knife on that one, to be honest with you. I was able to get it in the stomach, I pulled it out, and in the midst of him kicking, the knife went behind the sofa, in between the sofa thing.
So you had to retrieve it in between each kill, right?
Mhm.
How were you holding it with?
I don't remember how I was holding with Tyler, to be honest with you.
You said he was more of a fighter and that type of
He's
stuff.
stronger, yeah. He's more of a fighter.
So would that be more of a blindsided thing? I mean, were you quiet about it?
What's quiet about it for both of them?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's gonna be some of the major discrepancies just between that. I mean, you're saying that was first before the killing or before the death, and the doctor's gonna say something else. But other than that, you take full.
I take full responsibility once it's done.
Okay.
If I could commit suicide right now, I would.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna let you do that.
I'm just,
I know. I've made that very clear to everyone that I've spoken with that you do not want to be here. Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a different belief than you, and I don't just,
No disrespect towards you, and I hope there's none towards me.
no, that's what I meant to
Okay.
say.
You've treated me with the utmost respect the entire time
Same,
from day one, and I've done the same to you.
yes.
Um,
That's why I'm not hiding behind lawyers or anything, this is what happened.
I completely commend that. I mean, it's a very tragic thing that. You're right. You spoke of the other day. You walked to a beat of a different drum or something like that.
Mhm.
You as the family. Absolutely. I mean, you're going to be judged by society on certain things that you've done and a lot of stuff, and whether you care or not, that's up to you. Even by your own family.
That's fine. They don't need to understand everything we do.
Correct.
Meg and I were on the same page, we knew what we needed to do, we did it.
Okay.
That sounds snarky, I'm sorry.
You're fine, dude. Listen, you're one of the most polite guys I've had in here. I can tell you that.
One thing,
Yeah, go ahead.
the other day you said that you don't tell everybody, family or friends, your beliefs and all that. Why is that?
Because we get judged.
You get judged how?
we get certain things like, for example, I'm trying not to, well, maybe remember being recorded right this second?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Everything we've said has been recorded.
No,
I just want you to know that.
Will the family hear this?
What family?
My family.
Yeah.
They'll hear this? Okay. Okay, so no names then. We were moving up, looking at houses, and granted, we have different tastes in houses, different tastes in decorations. This says something. It's always a la-di-da, must be nice, that kind of stuff, and we always kind of belittled that way. So no matter what we believe in, people, they just don't understand why we go organic, why we go gluten-free, why we do this, you know, why, and it's always judged. So we just stop telling everybody everything.
Okay.
I know we're talking food, we're talking, but our own beliefs, even the fact that we follow a very non-traditional Catholic religion, we're still judged. We're judged no matter what we do, you know? So we don't tell people anything.
Well, that's your beliefs, and you can stick by them, and I'm,
Yeah,
like I said, I respect that.
Were the kids happy?
They were very happy
Yeah.
with us.
They were happy?
They lived a very happy life with us.
Yeah.
I do miss them.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get, like we said the other day, I can't understand the children, but if that's something that you guys discussed.
They have their whole life ahead of them now.
These beliefs, when did you guys start kind of getting into the beat of the different drummer and all that type of stuff, and was it?
It's been transitional for a while.
Yeah. Was it you or Meg that was primarily,
I was more of a follower.
you were born a follower?
I was more of a follower.
Oh, more of a follower. So, something else interesting, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if it's what led us up to your life and everything like that. Sometimes we're changed by tragic events as children. I understand you witnessed something, or you may have, something tragic in your life involving your father.
My sperm donor, yes.
Your sperm donor. Okay. There was like a shooting or something like that?
Yep, I break it in the middle of the night.
You slow down a little bit. What'd you say?
When we lived in Pennsylvania, my sperm donor had hired two of his high school kids to come in and kill my mother in the middle of the night. I had thought it was him coming home late, you know, because he had one or another girlfriend going on. And as I turned the corner, I saw my mom getting shot. She still lives with a bullet in her head, a false eye.
And you said it was the person who shot her was your biological father?
It was my sperm donor's kids. My biological father's special ed's kids. Taught special ed. He taught.
So someone he had hired to kill your mother?
Yep.
Where's he at now?
He got out of jail for 5 years. He's in Massachusetts now. Don't fucking leave me alone.
He still reaches out to you?
And harasses us, yes.
In a what?
And harasses us, yes.
Harasses you? Did any of that
No.
lead you down the path that you've chosen in life? No?
Other than the fact I want to become a physical therapist because that's what helped my mother.
Really?
Yeah.
And your mother's still alive?
Yep.
You said you're obviously close with her. Yeah. Is there any message you want me to relay to her right now?
Just tell her I love her.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, first of all, do you have anything else of me right now? Do you have any questions or any concerns or anything like that right now? Unfortunately, for your sake, we are still on this side, okay? You're not with your family right now. So you are going to be charged with their murders, you understand that? That's fine? Okay. So, I mean, it's a formality that we have to take part in, okay? I know you may see things differently.
No, I understand this.
Okay.
This
I mean,
law-
you were a law-abiding citizen up until this point, correct? I mean, from what I've heard, you've never, I mean, other than the little investigation that you had going on last year with the feds up there in wherever, Connecticut, you didn't have a violent.
No, this was a decision to pass.
Okay. I will make some phone calls to your family just to kind of update them and keep them up to date.
Okay.
Without a doubt, the persons that we pulled from your home are your family, correct?
Correct, yeah.
It's Megan, Zoe, Tyler, and Alec. Okay. The reason why I kind of went over some of the dentistry and that type of stuff is obviously for
Decomposition.
yeah, because of the decomposition, we had a little bit of a delay in that. The family does know, they don't know some of the grotesqueness of it behind it. I've kept it kind of private between us. So we're gonna work on, obviously, some DNA stuff and everything like that, and we're gonna take it from there.
Yep, it's good.
And I appreciate, you know, like I said, obviously this has been video, audio recorded every which way, every part of this investigation. You've been highly cooperative. You've never denied anything. The only discrepancies that we've had is post-mortem stab wounds versus what your version of events is, and that will be duly noted in my report, in my investigation, okay?
I'm not lying to you about it, they were stabbed first.
Okay,
Just so you know.
all right, okay. So just hang tight for us here.
I know one more thing,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No,
You've been in the hospital the last couple of days, correct?
I don't know how long I've been in the
Okay,
hospital.
well, the last couple of days.
today's Wednesday.
Yeah, Monday,
Monday, you guys,
so
okay.
Wednesday. You're not on any kind of medication, you didn't get any type of,
They gave me something.
well, you're not under the influence of anything right now. You know, you didn't take anything while you're in the hospital that would alter your mind
Oh,
or
no.
your thought process
No.
or,
They gave me something.
Other than not knowing the day of the week, you know where you're at, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're at the Osceola County Sheriff's Office and everything like that, and,
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
That's-
okay.
that's- yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I just wanted to go back and say, oh, I didn't know what the hell I was saying, I'm of sound mind, and you know,
No,
that
it's
is,
sound mind, I'm
Okay.
here. I did it.
yeah,
This is over with.
okay. Let me step out. What we do is, we're gonna collect some DNA. I have a search warrant for your DNA, for some comparisons and stuff, so one of the girls is gonna come in and I'll let you have a moment, okay? You need more water? Okay, just let me know if you do. So, it's, let's see, what time is it? 12:53 hours.
It's after midnight?
Huh?
After midnight?
No, it's in the afternoon. It's daytime. It's right, that's that military stuff.
What time did you guys pick?
12:52. We got you this morning. We got you like 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, something like that.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Bear with me.
Circus fam, you requested this video, so I obtained this video. And now you've just seen the video. I thank you for watching. A big thank you to Roma Army, Daylight Disinfectant, and a million other people that are getting shout-outs very soon. This outro would be about 10 minutes long if I thanked everybody that I need to thank, but I do appreciate you. You know who you are. Thank you. Now, I've got more videos coming soon. Please subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. I appreciate it. And until next time, remember to stay safe out there because you know it's a dangerous world.
Tony, let me take these cuffs off you real quick, okay? Because we got a girl. She's gonna come in here and process your fingernails and get a sample of your DNA. Okay. Let me take this there. That way I can maneuver in there and not, yeah, I put them on there real.
No, it wasn't
loose.
you, it was the guy who put it on last night.
Yeah. Okay. Stay down, good. I don't want you to.
Oh,
Nope, you're fine. You're fine. I don't want to dig in there any more than they are. All right. Just have to take it. All right. Yeah.
When can you move touch your
Yes,
eyelids?
ma'am, absolutely.
Thank you. Can you please stand against the wall? Can you hold out your arms like this? Turn them over. Closer again, thank you. Turn to face this wall. Okay. Face the back wall, please. Turn to your right and face that wall. Do you have any wounds on you that are not related to the hospital?
Yeah, the pellet wound. Where's the pellet, where's the pellet wound yet? Right here, right there. Oh, this is rip, so, right there, yeah.
Where is that from? Is that related to the incident?
Yeah, I shot myself with a pellet gun. He was trying to commit suicide with a pellet gun.
Okay. Okay, I'll be right back. Hold it right there.
Sorry, buddy. So, 'cause these are gonna be thrown away anyways, they're garbage. You can only zip that up. Oh. Yeah, where's it?
Any other wounds?
I shot myself again over here. I don't know if it's still there or not. Let me take this off. You want to? Okay. Oh, let's throw this back on. Go ahead and just remember to be right there. Yep, there it is. There you go. You're welcome.
Any other injuries other than those two?
Not that one. A lot of it seems to be healed. Yeah. Sit down, you feel kind of shaky. Okay, is it doing it? Yeah, until she's pretty clear again. Let's see. You might have to get back up though. or anything, no.
Oh, I forgot this. Sorry. I forgot about this, sorry.
Hey, Selena, there is one more self-inflicted wound, just let you know. Oh, sorry.
Is that also from the BB gun?
No, it's from a razor.
A razor? Any other wounds?
Nothing I can,
Nothing else?
nothing I can think of.
Nothing around your neck? When you're trying to hang
They-
yourself?
They all
I
went
haven't
away.
seen anything.
There was some zip tie marks, but
Mhm.
they,
Okay, come right here. Well, I don't know if that's from sitting in bed or what, if you wanna.
I'm not entirely sure, but I can
Yeah,
photograph it.
yeah.
To notice.
Okay.
Set you up a little table.
Alright, yeah, you need a little, station to roll around. Like a nurse's cart or something, you know?
Open your mouth. Do you have the time?
It's, 13:15 exactly per hour.
Open your mouth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hold out your hands. You cannot relax them for
oh,
now.
okay.
Once again, please. Time.
120.
Slow. Yeah.
Can you give me computer paper?
Computer paper?
What?
1328.
Since this worked pretty well, may I have an oven, please?
Yes, absolutely. Ready? Good enough?
No, I still need a good minute.
Huh?
I'll need more time.
Okay, something?
Thank you. Bye. I'll leave this here, please. your hand, please.
$13.33.
Thank you so much.
Maybe on the legs.
Excuse me.
We're gonna put these on for transport.
I'm not done.
Hi, you're good.
Sure. I'm gonna bring the powder in here, so it's gonna get a little bit.
Take
Okay.
this out.
We'll take that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some stuff up over here. This will do.
Cool.
Multiple.
Go ahead and stand up. Stand right here.
Sure.
Go ahead and give me this stuff here. Turn it over. Spread your fingers, please. Just hold it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take control of your hand, okay? Go ahead and make it stiff, straight. A little bit apart. There, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay your wrist down and just stay still. I'm going to manipulate it the way it's going to go on the paper, okay?
Sounds good.
So lift your wrist up. Straighten out. You have to squat a little. There you go. Spread your fingers more. Thank you. Fill out the evidence sheet, have him sign it, then you can proceed with whatever you need to. The evidence sheet shouldn't take too long. Spread your fingers, please. Thank you. We do the same thing we did before with the larger sheet. your wrist up. Okay. Open. Turn your, thank you. Pull your fingers together. Okay, open this up. Thank you. Down. Spread your fingers, please. Spread your fingers, thank you. Can you bring your hand up a little bit? Thank you. Spread them, thank you. Raise your hand a little bit higher. Thank you. clean up when I'm done.
Okay. Turn around for me. I'm just gonna put the, actually, do this first. I will do that later. Sorry, man. No, just trying to follow. I know. It's confusing. Go ahead and move yours. There you go. There you go. Thank you so much. That's very confusing. Good?
It's the backside.
Okay. I'll let you turn it. Is it good?
Yeah, you just gotta click it.
No, I mean, there's gotta be a way. How about now?
Yeah, we'll see.
Good?
Yeah. The whole backside.
Okay. Yes, let me try not to pinch that skin down. Okay, and just have a seat. Yeah, there you go. You good? There you go, right on back there. Sorry, got release on your ankles. Okay, give me one foot. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Those aren't gonna. Hey, that's cold. I'm telling him these aren't gonna fit on his ankles. His ankles are too big. And they're really tight. He's not gonna be able to walk in those. Yeah, we're multitasking. Okay, that's fine. That's cool.
That's it, in case just.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who's ours? Ours?
Yeah, those are.
Okay, okay.
She good? She's, signing?
Yeah, that's it.
Sign it down.
And he just has to sign. Okay, we'll be done.
All right, it is 1400 hours, January 15th, 2020. Maybe it'll stop.